Very good morning, friends. So, I hope you're all doing safe as well as healthy. Well, in this particular month, I thought of picking up a very interesting Ind AS, and I think when you look at the word income tax, Ind AS 12, the mind starts asking a lot of questions. I think this is one of the standard which can be linked with any other standard indeed. That means you're applying any other Ind AS and you would see the application of Ind AS 12. Because the moment there is a difference from the accounting as well as from the taxation point of view, it leads to a consequential impact as far as a deferred tax is concerned. So what I've done, I have created my own 5-step model as far as this Ind AS is concerned. In this particular video today, I'm just going to give you an exposure regarding what I call it as a nickname as the KV's 5-step model on Ind AS 12. In the subsequent videos, of course, we're going to deal with each of these steps which I'm going to outline today in this particular video. So let's find out what is the 5-step model which you need to apply in terms of Ind AS 12. एग्जामिनेशन समाप्त हो गए हैं मई 22 के लिए और अब बच्चे इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं कि रिज़ल्ट कैसा रहेगा। हमने एग्ज़ाम के अंदर क्या किया, अच्छा किया, बुरा किया, तो या तो आप इंतज़ार करें कि रिज़ल्ट्स आएँ या फिर इसके अंदर आप एक काम कर सकते हैं, एक सेशन अटेंड करें जिसके अंदर पेपर का पूरा एनालिसिस किया जाएगा, इस पेपर को डिकोड किया जाएगा ताकि आप ये असेस कर सकें कि आपने एग्ज़ाम के अंदर जो किया वो सही किया या गलत किया। एटलीस्ट वी कैन टेक करेक्टिव एक्शंस इन द सेंस आप अपने टेंशन को तो कम कर सकते हैं और कुछ नहीं तो। सीए फाइनल के सभी पेपर्स के लिए मई 22 के जितने भी पेपर्स हुए हैं उनके डीकोड सेशंस आपके साथ लेके आ रहे हैं इंडिया के टॉप एजुकेटर्स, जिनमें मैं फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग के अंदर आपके साथ जुड़ूंगा 3 जून को 10:30 AM इन द मॉर्निंग। ये स्पेशल क्लास आप अटेंड कर सकते हैं एब्सोल्युटली फ्री। यदि आप अनअकैडमी के प्लेटफॉर्म पर नए हैं तो आप इसके अंदर मेरा कोड इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं CAKB10 और इस सेशन को अनलॉक कर सकते हैं। जो भी आपके लिंक्स हैं इन सेशंस के लिए वो आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स के अंदर मिलेंगे। तो आइए मिलकर 1 जून ऑनवर्ड्स आपके ये सभी पेपर्स के एनालिसिस आपको मिलेंगे। तो भाई किस बात का इंतजार कर रहे हैं, आइए लेट्स क्रैक इट। वेल जस्ट now I said that I've nicknamed the 5 steps which I've created on Ind AS 12 as the KB's 5-step model. Well, if you read Ind AS 12, it doesn't talk of any a step-by-step approach. But I was very excited when I looked at IFRS 15. There is Ind AS 115 which lays down a 5-step model on the application of revenue recognition. I thought that it's going to be a fun that we could convert a lot of other Ind AS on a step-by-step approach as well. So that led to the origination of a 5-step model on Ind AS 12. Now, first of all, I think let me just outline what are the 5 steps we're going to apply when we look at the application of Ind AS 12. Step number 1 is organizing the carrying amount of every asset and liability in the balance sheet. The calculation of the carrying amount does not involve Ind AS 12. It is basically looking at the application of the other Ind AS. So like for example, if you're looking at the carrying amount of a PPE, then I would see that what does Ind AS 16 talk about? So organize the carrying amount of the asset and liability. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is organizing the tax base of the asset and liability, and this is going to be a complete exercise in terms of Ind AS 12. There is a good guidance which is given in Ind AS 12 which tells you how to calculate a tax base of an asset as well as a liability. The third step is going to be quite mathematical in nature because you've organized the carrying amount in step 1 and the tax base in step 3, which is going to compare the difference between the two. The difference between the carrying amount and the tax base is what we're going to call as a TD, that's a temporary difference. This temporary difference will be further classified as a taxable as well as a deductible temporary differences, which would lead to a DTL or a DTA as the case might be. We're going to see that later. Then step number 4 is whatever difference you've identified in step number 3, that needs to be multiplied with a tax rate, and that's going to give you a DTA DTL. The amount in step number 3 is not a deferred tax asset or liability. That is just a difference. When you multiply the difference into a tax rate, then we get the amount of deferred tax asset and liability. And finally, in terms of step number 5, we need to decide, is this deferred tax asset or liability, is it to be recorded in the profit and loss section of the income statement? Is it to be taken in the other comprehensive income section of the P&L, or is it to be directly taken in the statement of equity that is called SOCI, that is statement of changes in equity? Trust me, whatever might be the complicated situations, you can always apply this standard using a 5-step model. Organize the carrying amount of the asset and liability, get the tax base, compare the two, get the differences, multiply the difference with a tax rate to calculate a deferred tax asset or liability, and then finally decide where do we record this deferred tax income or expense, P&L, other comprehensive income, or is it to be directly taken in equity? So this is the 5-step model which we're going to follow in terms of Ind AS 12. So what I'm going to go do in the coming videos with you, I'm going to pick up each and every step and elaborate how each step is applied in terms of calculation of a deferred tax. And trust me, it's going to be really fun. That's all in this particular video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye and take care.